Welcome to another episode of How It Works with Holger. Ever since Delphi 1, I think, I can only assume because Delphi 2 was the first version I used on a regular basis, forms were auto-created in Delphi in VCL applications. Whenever you created or added a form to your VCL project, it was created for you automatically. However, this is not something that I want all the time, so I always have to go into project options forms and remove them from auto creation. However, there is a setting now that you can prevent that from happening at all. So first, let's look at what I'm talking about. So when we go File, New, Windows VCL, Application, this is my main form. And if I add a second form to the project, add New VCL Form, and look at the project file, Control V, you see that both these forms are automatically created. You can also see it by going to Project Options and then select Forms. Both of these are created automatically. With a few forms, that's fine. However, as soon as you have a certain number of forms, that means or implies that if you create this form too, that it's on create form is being executed, and there might be a lot of stuff involved. Also, there might be forms that require certain prerequisites that aren't given when the application starts. So why would you want to create it in the beginning? So I see it quite often that people create new forms either this way or they add them using other dialogues and then immediately go to project options and say, well, I don't really need to create this. I only need to create the main form. These two I don't need. And always go back and forth with that dialog. Well, Delphi now has in Tools, Options, a wonderful feature to prevent that from happening. The only thing is it's very, very well hidden. Even I, before recording this video, had to look it up again where the setting is. You won't find it in the IDE settings. It's actually part of the form designer settings. Why that has been decided, I don't know. For me, it's like something project related. It has nothing to do with the form design per se, but that's where you find it. So you go to user interface and then form designer, and then here, module creation options. First of all, this should be enabled all the time. New forms should be created as text. I'll show that right away. But auto create forms and data modules is checked by default too. So uncheck this, click save. And now if we add another form, this is unit 4 now here, we go to project options. And now this shouldn't be auto created. It isn't. It's only available, but it's no longer being auto-created. And that also works nice for data modules now. Add new, other, database, data module Y. A data module is listed on the database. No idea. That's where you find it. Okay. And now we have here T data module, project, options. And once again, if you look at the list of available forms, the data module is not being created automatically. Wonderful setting. One more word about forms as text. Well, that was a thing in the past where forms, when you add controls to it, there is not only the source code, there is also, if you expand it here, the DFM file. And the DFM file back in the day was stored in binary format on disk. It was actually, if you stream or if you store controls into a stream, it was kind of like the same format. The IDE streams the properties of the controls into the form file back in the day using the binary format. And now this is all text. Kind of like if you press Alt F12 or right click and say view as text. When you look at this, this shows all the controls you have on the form or the form itself. Like here's the memo control button and all the properties that need to be stored. And this has always been the case. In Delphi, you could always read it like this. However, on disk, it was a binary file before. And as soon as Embarcadero or Borland introduced the new forms as text feature, All new forms are now created as text files, and the number one reason why that is preferred is version control. Because if you make a tiny little change to your form, version control can pick up the changes much easier than from a binary file. That's the number one reason why you should do it. And also, of course, a text file can be edited using any text editor if you want to make a quick change to your form. You don't even need to open Delphi if you don't want to. You can make the change in the text file itself. So that's another how it works with Augur. Don't slither away. Stay with Delphi and take care. See you soon.